General Vorthak stood atop his command vessel, surveying the burning ruins of New Geneva through the reinforced viewport. His 4 arms were crossed behind his chitinous back, each of his 6 eyes gleaming with satisfaction. The Terran colony had fallen in less than 3 solar cycles, exactly as he had predicted to the Hegemony Council. Another pitiful human settlement crushed beneath our might, he growled to his aide, Commander Zelix. Their species continues to disappoint. No wonder they've been relegated to the outer rim worlds. The aide's mandibles clicked in agreement. Yes, General. The humans showed their typical cowardice. Most fled before we even made planetfall. Vorthak's pleasure was interrupted by a commotion from the lower decks. Through the ship's internal sensors, he observed his troops dragging a lone human prisoner toward the detention cells. The creature was small, even by human standards, perhaps a young female, though it was difficult to tell with their species' irritating lack of obvious sexual dimorphism. "Bring her to the bridge," Vorthak commanded. "I wish to interrogate this specimen personally." Minutes later, the human was hauled before him. She was indeed young, maybe 20 cycles if Vorthak understood human aging correctly. Her dark hair was matted with dust and her primitive clothing was torn, but her eyes, those strange, singular pupilled human eyes, stared at him without the fear he expected. "What is your designation, human?" Vorthak demanded in accented standard. "Dr. Sarah Chen," she replied quietly. "I was a xenolinguist studying at the Colonial University." Vorthak's laugh was a harsh, grinding sound. "A scholar of alien languages? How fitting. Tell me, Dr. Chen, what did your studies teach you about the Corvashi Empire?" Sarah's gaze didn't waver. "That you're a warrior culture that has conquered 47 star systems through superior military technology and tactical coordination." 48 now, Vorthak corrected with pride. "And soon to be 53 when we finish with the remaining human colonies in this sector. Your species lacks the will to fight. You scatter like prey animals at the first sign of real conflict." "Perhaps," Sarah said softly, "but we have something you don't." The bridge fell silent. Even the usual hum of the ship's system seemed to quiet. Vorthak leaned forward, his massive frame casting a shadow over the small human. "And what might that be?" Sarah looked around the bridge, taking in the dozen Corvashi officers, the weapon arrays, the tactical displays showing the positions of Vorthak's fleet. When she spoke, her voice was barely above a whisper, yet somehow it carried to every corner of the room. "We know your language." Vorthak's 6 eyes blinked in confusion. "Standard? Of course you do. It's the common tongue of civilized space." "No," Sarah continued, her voice still that same quiet whisper. "Your real language. The one you think no human could ever learn." She paused, letting the words sink in. "The one you're speaking right now to coordinate your fleet movements." A chill ran through the bridge crew. Vorthak's aide stepped backward, his clawed hands moving instinctively toward his sidearm. Sarah smiled, the first expression she'd shown since being brought aboard. "You see, General, while you were busy conquering worlds, we were busy listening. Every transmission, every tactical briefing, every private conversation between ships. We've been recording everything for the past 6 months." "Impossible," Vorthak snarled. "The Corvashi military tongue is sacred. It has never been shared with outsiders." "No," Sarah agreed. "You never shared it. But you used it constantly, and we're very good at pattern recognition. It's amazing what a xenolinguist can accomplish with quantum processing arrays and a few thousand hours of intercepts." She looked directly at Vorthak, and for the first time he saw something in her eyes that made his chitin crawl. Not fear, certainty. "Right now," Sarah whispered, 17 human ships are positioned throughout your fleet formation. They've been there for 2 days, using your own tactical frequencies to coordinate their movements. Your sensors can't detect them because they're broadcasting the proper Corvashi identification codes. Vorthak's blood went cold. "You're bluffing." Sarah's smile widened. "Bridge to Admiral Harrison," she said in perfect, unaccented Corvashi. "Execute whisper protocol." The effect was instantaneous. Every communication panel on the bridge erupted in panicked chatter as Corvashi ship commanders reported human vessels materializing from stealth fields directly alongside their hulls. The tactical display showed red contacts appearing throughout the fleet formation. Impossibly positioned, impossibly close. "How?" Vorthak demanded, his voice cracking. "We learned your language," Sarah repeated. "We learned your protocols. We learned how you think, and then we used all of it against you." She gestured toward the chaos on the screens. Your ships are receiving legitimate Korvashi orders from human crews. Your own coordination systems are turning your fleet into our weapon. Through the viewports, Vorthak could see human ships broadcasting Korvashi surrender signals to his confused captains. Other vessels were transmitting false damage reports, convincing Korvashi commanders to power down their weapons for maintenance. The entire fleet was descending into controlled chaos as his own communication systems worked against him. You cannot have learned everything, Vorthak said desperately. The neural implants, the quantum encryption. We didn't need to break your encryption, Sarah interrupted. We just needed to understand what you were saying when you thought no one was listening. Humans are very good at pretending to be something they're not, General. It's called acting. The final blow came when Sarah spoke a single phrase in the most sacred dialect of the Korvashi military hierarchy, the command language known only to generals and above. On screens throughout the bridge, every ship in Vorthak's fleet simultaneously began transmitting surrender codes. Vorthak collapsed into his command chair, his forearms hanging limp at his sides. Impossible, he whispered. We are the masters of war. We have conquered dozens of species. Sarah nodded sympathetically. Yes, you have. But you always conquered them the same way, through superior force and technology. You never learned to fight against an enemy that studies you first. She gestured toward the communications array. Every species you've defeated probably tried to match your military might. We decided to match your words instead. As human boarding parties began docking with Korvashi vessels throughout the fleet, Sarah looked out at the burning colony below. You know what the funny thing is, General? We really did scatter when you arrived. Most of the colonists evacuated just like you said. But while they were running, they were also listening. Every refugee carried our recordings. Every escape ship transmitted our linguistic analysis back to Earth. She turned back to face the defeated Korvashi commander. You taught us your language, General Vorthak. And in return, we're going to teach you ours, starting with a very important human concept. Vorthak looked up at her with broken eyes. What concept? Sarah's whisper carried the weight of an entire species behind it. Checkmate.